in the dying light of an Arizona sunset, when the sky blazed with molten gold and streaks of crimson. Nathan Cole's life changed forever the moment. The ground vanished beneath his horse's hooves. The ravine had been disguised by drifting sand and shadows, a silent predator waiting for a weary traveler. And before Nathan had time to curse his own carelessness, the earth split open and swallowed him and his mare, Juniper, in a violent tumble of dust, hooves, and bone-rattling impact. The world became a blur, rocks against his ribs, Juniper's desperate whinny, the sky spinning above him, and then, finally, a hard thud that knocked all breath from his lungs. Pain screamed through his body, and darkness tried to take him. But some stubborn part of him clung to life, to the memory of why he had been traveling alone through Apache territory, to start fresh, to outrun the debts, the guilt, and the failures that had followed him ever since he left his family's ranch back in Texas. For a long moment he lay still, tasting blood, listening to the distant echo of wind, brushing through sage and mesquite, above the ravine. He called weakly for Juniper and felt a surge of relief when he heard her soft, pained snort nearby. She was alive, though clearly injured. He tried to stand, groaned, nearly fell again, and only then realized he was not alone. A tall silhouette stood at the rim of the ravine, motionless, observing him like a hawk studying wounded prey. The figure descended with uncanny grace, using footholds Nathan couldn't even see, and as she drew near, he recognized the distinctive garments, fringed buckskin, beadwork shimmering faintly, hair braided with eagle feathers. She was older, towering, broad-shouldered, with an aura of authority that needed no words. Her eyes, sharp as obsidian, studied him not with hostility, but with judgment, as though weighing his spirit. Nathan's pulse thudded. He had heard stories of Apache warriors, swift, proud, unyielding, but none of those tales had mentioned a matriarch like this. She knelt beside Juniper first, her hands gentle as she inspected the horse's leg, whispering something in her native tongue. And then she turned to Nathan. "Can you stand?" she asked, her voice deep, calm, and commanding. He nodded, though the truth was uncertain, and she slipped one strong arm under his to help him rise. Every movement sent fire shooting through his side, yet he pushed on, embarrassed by the weakness he felt under her steady grasp. When they finally reached the cliff top, he collapsed to his knees, sucking in the cool evening air. Around him, he noticed several young Apache riders waiting silently on horseback, watching him with curiosity and caution. The woman spoke to them, her tone firm, and they responded with immediate obedience. She was clearly their leader. Only later did Nathan learn her name, Nalina, the respected matriarch of a powerful Apache band, and even then, he would never forget the first impression she made, fierce, wise, radiating a strength that demanded respect. Without explanation, Nalina ordered her warriors to lift Juniper, carefully on a woven drag sled while she instructed two youths to support Nathan as they began the trek toward their hidden camp in the mountains. Nathan, half delirious with pain, tried to protest. Why help me?" he asked. "I'm a stranger. You don't know what trouble I might bring." Nalina glanced back at him, with a faint smirk. "If you meant harm, the ravine would have dealt with you first." Something about her words, pragmatic, almost teasing, gave him a strange comfort. As they traveled under the rising moon, he became aware of the camp long before he saw it, the rhythmic beat of a drum, the scent of cooking corn and herbs, the soft laughter of children echoing against rock walls. When they arrived, the tribe greeted Nalina with nods of respect, but their eyes widened at the sight of Nathan, battered and foreign. Murmurs swept through the crowd. Some worried, others suspicious, a few curious, but none challenged Nalina, not openly. She ordered Nathan placed near her dwelling, a beautifully crafted lodge, adorned with woven symbols and painted markings, depicting the tribe's lineage. Juniper was taken to a sheltered corral where the tribe's horse caretakers would tend her. Nathan, unable to stand again, was lowered to a bed of soft animal skins, and medicine women immediately began treating his wounds with poultices of crushed herbs, resin, and warm water. Their touch was surprisingly gentle, yet every press upon his ribs made him wince. While they worked, Nalina sat across from him, arms crossed, studying him the way one might study a map whose secrets were not yet revealed. After a long silence, she finally spoke. "You fell for a reason," she said. "The earth does not swallow men by accident." Nathan huffed a weak laugh. "I figured it was just my bad luck." But Nalina shook her head, her gaze unwavering. "No, you were brought here, and perhaps you have something to give." He frowned, confused, but too exhausted to ask questions. Sleep pulled him under like a tide. In the days that followed, Nathan slowly recovered. He learned that the Apache camp was more than a home. It was a sanctuary, a place of discipline, tradition, unity, and preparation. Young warriors were trained daily in riding, hunting, tracking, and the philosophies of courage and restraint. And at the center of every lesson stood Nalina, a force of nature who demanded nothing less than excellence. Her presence was like flint, striking sparks in every young heart she guided. Nathan watched. From his resting place as the youth practiced archery with bows, taller than some of them, guided their swift ponies around impossible turns, climbed rock faces with ease, and tracked footprints invisible to his eyes. Their focus, their discipline, their harmony, it all humbled him. One morning, when he could finally stand without collapsing, Nalina approached him with a leather staff in hand. "Walk with me," she commanded. He followed, though his side still ached. She led him to a cliff overlooking the valley, where the horizon stretched endlessly, each mountain peak glowing in the morning sun. "Why did you help me?" Nathan finally asked. "You could have left me there." Nalina exhaled slowly, as though choosing her words with care. "My people are preparing for a hard season," she said. "We need strength. We need wisdom. And sometimes, the Creator sends what we need in unexpected forms." Nathan blinked. "Me? What could I possibly offer?" She turned to him, eyes sharp. "You know horses." He nodded reluctantly. "I was raised on a ranch." "Then you will teach our young ones," she declared. "Our children are brave, fast, fierce, but they lack the horsemanship of your people. We raise warriors. You raise riders. You will give them what they lack." Nathan's breath caught. He never expected to be asked for anything, let alone trusted with the tribe's young. "Why me?" He whispered. Nalina's expression softened just slightly. "Because when a man falls, he either learns to rise anew, or stays broken. You, I believe, were meant to rise." Her words stirred something deep, something forgotten. For years Nathan had seen himself as a failure, a man running from mistakes he couldn't correct. But here, among people who owed him nothing yet offered him purpose, he felt a spark of redemption. And so he agreed. Over the next weeks, Nathan began working with the tribe's youth, teaching them everything he knew. How to communicate with a horse through breath and touch. How to ride not with force but with trust. How to anticipate danger by the shift of a saddle or the tremble of a rein. And how to bond with a mount so deeply that rider and horse moved like one creature. The children adored him. They laughed at his clumsy attempts at Apache words, cheered when he demonstrated new techniques, and listened intently whenever he shared stories of ranch life. In return, they taught him their ways, how to track deer by broken twigs, how to read storms by the scent of wind, how to understand silence as a language all its own. Even Nalina participated at times, watching from a distance, her stern face occasionally betraying a proud smirk. One evening, as orange firelight danced on the canyon walls, Nalina approached Nathan after a long training session. "You have done well," she said. "They respect you." "They make it easy," Nathan replied with a smile. "They are good kids." "They are warriors," she corrected gently. "But you help shape their hearts." He bowed his head slightly, humbled. Before they could continue, a sudden distant shout cut through the peaceful night. A scout rode in at full gallop, sliding off his horse and rushing to Nalina with urgency. Nathan couldn't understand the Apache words exchanged, but he saw worry flash across Nalina's face. Something was wrong. Something big. She turned to him, eyes blazing with decision. "Nathan," she said, "prepare yourself. Everything you have learned, everything you have given, may soon be tested. And you will stand with us." Nathan's pulse thudded, not with fear but with purpose. For the first time in years, he felt like a man who mattered. Little did he know, the next chapter of his life, and the fate of the tribe, was about to unfold in ways none of them could predict. And as the drums echoed through the night, he understood that his fall into the ravine had not been a curse, but a calling. If you're enjoying this story and want to hear the conclusion, filled with action, emotion, and the powerful bond between Nathan, the Apache youth, and the indomitable matriarch, Nalina, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss Chapter 2.